Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Simply Nerdy. I'm your host, Steven. I'm joined today by everyone.
Yay!
Hello.
Hello.
The whole panel is here. Forgive me. I'm still getting over a cold, so if my voice cracks or anything like that, I'm sorry. Just put up with me today.
There is no forgiveness.
Okay. We have all finished Metroid Dread, so this is your spoiler warning. We are going to get into the deep everything. We're going to spoil everything. Probably the ending first, but we're going to spoil everything. So, in this discussion, we're going to be talking about the story, the gameplay, the music, graphics, performance, and the replay value. So, without further ado, let's just get into the story. I'll just go first, just because my points are short and quick, to the point. Well, there's a lot of favorite parts, but one of my absolute favorite parts was when Samus spoke in the most boss way possible in Chozo. My jaw dropped. I was not expecting her to speak. And when she did, it made total sense that she spoke Chozo since she was raised by Chozo, and it makes perfect sense. And I was just so surprised that they threw that small little Easter egg in there, and it made me so happy. So that was the first thing. And then the second that absolutely blew my mind was at the end when we realized that Samus is a Metroid. And I cannot wait to see where the series goes after this game. That completely blew me away. I was worried where they were going to go with the franchise after this, because the Metroids are extinct, but not anymore, I suppose. So I'm excited. They can kind of go whatever direction they want now, and I'm super excited to see where this series.
The thing I love about that last point, Stephen, is I saw comments. People are like, now when people say, "Is that Metroid?" You say, "Yes."
We've
heard it here first.
Correcting people calling Samus Metroid all this time, and then Nintendo's like, I'm just going to put this right here.
I can see you now.
I mean, I guess in a way, now that she's the only one, she is Metroid.
The Metroid. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I was gonna make a joke about that, but it's a good point. If she's the only one, then that is correct.
So I was gonna say, for me, as a longtime Metroid fan, I thought the story was great, especially just the lore you get from it. We finally meet Chozo, right? If you've been with the series for a while, you know they exist, and you'd almost think that they're all extinct, right? They just have these statues they left everywhere or something. You only see remnants of Chozo in all the other games, basically. So it was really cool to finally see them be a part of the story, and Samus talk to them, and
Even if there were still only two.
yeah.
I kind of feel like the Chozo statues, like the classic Chozo statue looks a lot more like Makin and Thoha. So yeah, they looked a lot more like a Makin than a Thoha. But I wonder if that's just, when I saw them, Quiet's robe or something.
Quiet robe, yeah.
I saw him and I was like, he looks nothing like every single one of those statues, except he does have a beak. And so I was just like, what? Did they just be like, we're going to stylize the heck out of this statue, which, is a thing.
Hopefully there's other tribes, right? Other tribes of Chozo in the galaxy, and good warrior tribes or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wanted to make a point about this story. I've seen online comments where people they said, "Oh, the story was okay," or wasn't that great. But like I said, for Metroid fans, it was perfect. And if you look back on previous Metroid games, most of them have even less story.
It's true.
Think of Metroid 1 or Zero Mission. The plot is basically just go there, fight space pirates, stop them from using Metroids. And that's the plot. There's nothing else to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
She does exactly that. And Metroid 2, the plot is go to SR388, destroy the Metroids. And there's not much else to it. When it comes to Metroid, I don't think plot points are that important. It's more about the experience, right? The way you experience the story. Even if it's simple, they do a great job of telling it so you feel like you're experiencing it.
as a longtime Metroid fan, I agree, David. I feel like the plot is probably the least important aspect. But that being said, as a person who generally is very fond of plot-driven RPGs, I have to say that I was actually more driven by the plot of Metroid Dread than a lot of games I've played. You know, most of the time when I'm playing a Metroid game or anything that's Metroidvania-like, I'm almost OCD in my desire to collect everything as I go. But when I was playing Metroid Dread, I was like, no, I want to find out what happens. I'm going to go to the next area.
Anthony was right behind me the whole time because that's how I play. I do the story first and collect everything last, and Anthony and I were like neck and neck the whole time we were playing.
Which is pretty rare for me.
It is very
because I usually take my time. So anyway, I found it engaging, you know, for a Metroid story. I mean, it's nothing, you know, to write home about from plot point necessarily, but I thought some of the revelations were really cool. You know, maybe there's some out there who would say, well, you should have seen it coming, but I was pleasantly surprised by the twist of Samus becoming a Metroid herself. I didn't expect them to go there. I just thought they were going to be like, you got the DNA, you're invincible to X, and when they went there, I was like, this is a really cool direction, and it kind of leaves a lot open for what they could do next. Like, is Samus going to be able to control being a Metroid? Because at the end, she nearly didn't, and it was X Quiet Robe that did a thing. I don't know what thing it was, but he did a thing, and then Samus kind of stabilized. And so now, you know, like I've heard some people say, what if they have Samus go rogue in the future? That would be stupid. I don't like that. But, you know, or, you know, what will they do from here? This is the first time that a Metroid game has decided to do a little bit more with its narrative in terms of exposing lore than any other Metroid game, and so I was pretty tickled by that.
Dread found a balance where, like, you're not like reading text constantly, or, you know, having to have a super linear structure. Instead, like, they kind of have the feeling of Super Metroid, but with some more of the story, like story-driven elements of fusion. So they found like a good balance there.
I totally agree, David.
So the last thing for me is I saw some people complaining about the evil father trope. If you know the lore of the series, it's not actually that trope. Like, there's no familial bond between Samus and Ravenbeak. It's just that he like contributed DNA, Chozo DNA to her, so he sees her as a daughter, but it's not like, oh, you're my evil father, no, you know. So it's not actually fully like doing this evil father trope that people thought.
I'm just going to say something real quick here. Can we all just take a moment and breathe about tropes? Because like, I feel like a lot of people are like, this is similar to this completely, you know, like, I mean, I don't care how prevalent or niche it is. If it's been done before, people, you know, flip out. It's just like, just judge it on its own merits. It does a lot of cool, interesting things that are new. And you know what? Like, take a chill pill and just recognize, okay, yeah, this has been done before. But that doesn't mean that it's instantly bad. Anyway, Lisa, you go.
Yeah. Number one, I want to say Stephen pointed out that it was really fun that she talked in Chozo, and I gotta say, number one, I loved that in and of itself. But I love one of the things that bugs me the most is like in movies or games, usually in movies, when they'll like have somebody talking to somebody in a different language, and then that person responds in English or something, and I'm just like, what is wrong with you? Like, socially, that is not okay. And so that's why I was really pleased that she responded to Chozo, and it was freaking awesome.
Agreed.
I know this isn't technically story, but I just loved all of the details that made Samus look like such a freaking boss. Like, they didn't need to put all those details in, but oh, were they delicious. Like, like, oh my gosh, it added so much value for me. I don't know why. Just like, hitting one of those counters and then having this sequence where you have like you can shoot, but you also like stuff's happening. Oh, it felt so good. Although half the time I would be like, I'd be too distracted by what was going on that I'd be like, oh, and then it would be like, oh, I should be shooting. Anyway,
I did that before. Yep.
So I love that. I felt like the story was fun. I liked it. It wasn't overbearing. It wasn't like, oh, now I have to stop playing to story again. It felt extremely smooth to me. Like, last thing about what happened at the end. I have to admit that when they were like, Samus has become a Metroid, I was like, but wasn't she already? Like, didn't this happen in Fusion? So it was, and now he's gonna point out, well, Lisa, she had Metroid DNA. That doesn't mean that she's a Metroid.
I wasn't even necessarily going to make that point. I was just simply going to say, from my perspective, I just didn't expect them to give her the energy draining powers.
Agreed.
Like,
Yeah.
That's the part that was a surprise to me. It wasn't that they started calling her a Metroid. I'm like, yeah, I guess this is kind of a formality. I mean, now that we've learned that Metroid just means Ultimate Warrior in Chozo, then, she's kind of earned that appellation long before she got the infusion.
True.
But I did not expect them to do the power draining thing, and I was like, ooh, that's cool. Now Samus is super OP. I wonder how they're gonna balance that.
You'd be like, oh no, she forgot. Muscle memory is gone.
Oh, stop it. We're done. Oh, all right.
They do it every time, Steve.
You ruined it.
I liked that end stuff, but I am also glad that she is not forever Bug.
Yeah, she's not a bug.
She's not gonna look like Bug forever.
Agreed.
I liked the claw hands, but the other stuff I was like, that doesn't look healthy. Like if she can't take off the suit, how is she gonna like live life? Because it didn't look removable.